This week it was another episode of Impact Wrestling on Access TV, which of course meant another paid advertisement by AEW President and CEO Tony Khan alongside AEW commentator Tony Schiavone. And this week was like all the other weeks that they've done these paid advertisements. It featured Tony Khan throwing several shots and shade at Impact Wrestling, specifically Don Callis, and Tony Schiavone also throwing some particularly good shade at Impact Wrestling's network, that being Access TV. Now, Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone were back on Impact in the latest paid advertisement this week, taking shots at the Good Brothers and Access TV. You can see the full video. It's available on Impact Wrestling's website, their social media, it's everywhere. And of course, if you watched Impact Wrestling this week, you would have been able to see it there too. But the segment saw Tony Khan once again play some offense towards Impact Wrestling, specifically the Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President Don Callis. He took various shots at Impact by saying that the best moments in recent weeks were the paid advertisements that Khan and Tony Schiavone appeared in. He also said that the best moments was Kenny Omega and being able to watch a real wrestling show on Wednesday nights on TNT, that being AEW Dynamite, specifically tonight, of course, night 2 of AEW's New Year's Smash event. Now, Khan and Schiavone then, as they always do, ran down the card for tonight's edition of Dynamite. They also said, which is very key, of course, the way that Dynamite went off the air last week, that the Good Brothers, Impact World Tag Team Champions, were welcome to come this week, saying they aren't even real brothers, what's being called the Good Brothers. Nice little shot there. Khan also invited Impact to send anyone over this week, and then Tony Schiavone ended this advertisement by saying that AEW is on, quote, a real network. So it was the same as what we've seen in recent weeks. We've covered all of these paid advertisements here on the channel, so I'm trying to keep up the streak at this point. Do I think it was as good as the most recent weeks? I do think they're getting better and better. I don't think this one fit the pattern of what we've seen recently, where I always felt with these paid advertisements that they just got better and better and better and better. Every time that Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone appeared on Impact Wrestling through these paid advertisements, and what essentially they really are promos. They're Tony Khan actually cutting promos, which we don't see on AEW television. We actually see Tony Khan become a bit of a character here, become more in line with the pro wrestling boss, becoming a character and actually cutting promos, and I feel like he's done a very good job. Although I don't know if this week's one was as good as last week's. I felt last week's episode of Impact on Access TV featuring the paid advertisement by Tony Khan, that was the best paid advertisement that we'd seen at that point. I think it was Tony Khan getting much more personal, throwing a lot more shade specifically at Don Callis, calling him a parasite, taking umbrage with Don Callis speculating that he was the one that was responsible for bringing together AEW. He was the one for the success of AEW. He was the one that put together Jericho and Omega in New Japan, which actually laid the foundations for AEW. Tony Khan last week took big umbrage with that and said, actually, you know, I'm the one that founded AEW. I'm the one that pays all of the talent. I'm the one that got the connection with TNT to put Dynamite on the air. I'm the guy that pays Kenny Omega. I'm the guy that's allowing Kenny Omega to come over to Impact Wrestling every single week. I'm the guy that also invited Don Callis to come over to AEW to do commentary and get involved in the AEW World Championship match against Jon Moxley for Kenny Omega in the first place. I'm the guy that's responsible for all of that. So I felt like last week it was much more personal, whereas this week was just kind of more of the same. There wasn't much storyline progression, I would say. There wasn't much more of that. It was just kind of what we'd seen recently, and I guess that was probably always going to be the case. It's difficult. These paid promos, these paid advertisements last a minute, if that, sometimes maybe a little bit longer, 90 seconds, so it's difficult to get a lot of storyline progression in there. I still think they are one of the high points of the show, and that's not to say that Impact Wrestling is bad, or this week's episode of Impact on Access TV was particularly bad or anything like that. I just think they're a high point of the show because they're what is featuring my favourite part of Impact and AEW right now, which is this crossover between Impact and AEW. Now, in Tony Khan's promo this week, there certainly was a lot to break down in there. I think the most interesting thing, to say the least, that he said was when he started commenting on the Good Brothers, of course, because at the end of New Year's Smash last week, we had the Good Brothers make their AEW debut. They attacked Jon Moxley when Jon Moxley had attacked Kenny Omega with the barbed wire baseball bat, and the Good Brothers made their AEW debut appearance. But of course, they're under contract to Impact Wrestling. They are Impact Wrestling talents. They are the Impact World Tag Team Champions. So their appearance last week was very interesting, to say the least, not only because they're, of course, Impact talents, but also because of their relationship with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, and then ultimately the Young Bucks two-sweeting at the end of the show and reforming the Bullet Club. That was the big thing. And we didn't get that much discussion about that. this past week on Impact, which was certainly interesting, which says to me that the whole Young Bucks coming together and being a part of this maybe wasn't the plan when all of this was filmed in the first place. Because you have to remember that all the Impact content was filmed back in November. The AEW and Impact content was probably filmed in December, late December, and we probably haven't had any real new content been filmed from the AEW and Impact side of things, again, since December really, in the last few weeks. So that says to me the sheer lack of a Young Bucks presence on tonight's, or last night's show rather, on Impact Wrestling on Access TV, apart from in the opening recap, says to me that maybe that side of things wasn't completely planned out. Maybe that's the case there. Of course, I think we'll get a much more involvement from the Young Bucks at Hard to Kill on Saturday and then Impact after that. So that's certainly going to be interesting. But when it comes to Tony Khan inviting the Good Brothers to Impact, to AEW rather, tonight, of course, AEW Night 2 of the New Year's Smash was actually filmed last week. So it's not going to be live tonight on TNT. So that means, of course, the Good Brothers were there last week. They'll be there this week. So I would be assuming we are going to have a Good Brothers promo on tonight's New Year's Smash episode. We're going to have the Good Brothers, Kenny Omega, and possibly the Young Bucks all appearing in the same ring at the same time, being a faction, having a Biz Cliz reunion, as it were. And that is certainly going to, I think, lay the foundation of what we can expect to see across AEW and Impact over the course of the next couple of months. Of course, eventually, I've mentioned this before, we're going to get to a point when it's going to be the Good Brothers versus the Young Bucks, but to me, the money, what makes the most sense here is to have this faction, the reuniting of the Bullet Club from New Japan, running rampant and roughshod over AEW and Impact Wrestling. I think that idea of a faction across two companies, dominating two companies, being possibly with Kenny Omega being the world champion of both companies, we can talk about that later on as well, I think is certainly going to be something interesting. Also, what was interesting as well is not only did he invite the Good Brothers over, but he also invited anyone else from the Impact Wrestling roster to come across to AEW. That is very significant as well, because at the moment, this whole AEW and Impact Wrestling crossover has really been limited to those who have history as being part of the Bullet Club, really. It's been Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and the Good Brothers. So it's really been all about, this crossover has been all about having this New Japan element, this New Japan reunion, whether it's Don Callis, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, or Good Brothers. That's what this crossover has really been about so far. But those closing lines with Tony Khan there speaking that, it doesn't just have to be the Good Brothers that come over to AEW. I'm welcoming anyone from Impact Wrestling to come over to AEW. I think that's significant. That certainly also opens the door for other talents to come across. Now, what talents will they be? Well, only time will tell. It'd be really interesting to have some of the knockouts come across. I think that would definitely benefit AEW. Of course, they have to book them correctly, but that would certainly be beneficial to AEW's product. There has been this groundswell of people that really want to see Sami Callihan come across to AEW as well to reform the Switchblade conspiracy with Jon Moxley. Of course, they've got history together from CZW and the independent scene, so maybe that's who Tony Khan is referencing there as well. That is certainly something to discuss. But also, it maybe could open the door for maybe the Motor City Machine Guns. They've got history with the Young Bucks in Impact Wrestling. Or, of course, it could open up the chance that Rich Swann, the Impact World Champion, also makes an appearance tonight on the Night 2 of New Year's Smash. Why? Because, of course, Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers, they're currently feuding with Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. What a way for Impact to get a big plug for the Hard to Kill pay-per-view on Saturday is if tonight Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns do appear on AEW Dynamite. We've spoken quite a lot here on the channel that are AEW really holding up their end of the bargain by promoting Impact Wrestling on Access TV enough on Dynamite? I don't know. Personally, I think you look at the effect that it had when you had Don Callis at the end of the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite say, tune in Tuesday to Impact Wrestling on Access TV. Since then, they haven't really done that many direct plugs. And we've also seen the ratings dip a little bit for Impact. So there certainly is a correlation there. Whether it's a causal link, I don't know. I really don't know there. So the fact that Khan is also in this promo started to say, look, I'm also inviting other names over. It certainly opens the door for a Sami Callihan, a Rich Swann and the Motor City Machine Guns. Personally, I really would hope that the Machine Guns and Rich Swann appear on Dynamite tonight, because I think that would really be the go-home angle for Impact to really get people to watch on Saturday. So let's hope that happens. I don't know if it will. I don't know if even there are spoilers out there right now when it comes to Night 2 of New Year Smash. I certainly haven't read them, and I won't read them, so I don't know. If I am right, it's just a lucky prediction, I would suppose. But that is certainly something definitely certainly interesting to take note of there. Finally, what I do want to point out as well about this Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone promo, actually two things. One, I don't get the 2021 glasses. I get it last week because it was the whole first episode of 2021 for Impact Wrestling, New Year, New Year's episode. He's celebrating the New Year. We saw them in a holiday setting before with a Christmas tree behind him, and last week we saw them with the New Year's stuff. Tony Schiavone was wearing the hat. Tony Schiavone was wearing the glasses. I'm not sure why he's having to wear 2021 glasses now. I mean, it was the 12th of January. We've celebrated the new year. That just felt a bit odd to me. So I didn't really understand why Tony Khan was wearing the 2021 glasses at that point. That just seemed really strange, didn't it? I mean, why? I mean, Tony Schiavone lost the hat, so I'm not sure why Tony Khan still had the glasses, but I guess that's just Tony Khan. Maybe he ran out of his normal glasses. I don't know. It's just very, very odd. And secondly, yes, he was sticking to that theme. I spoke about this extensively a couple of times, saying, you don't have to fold your arms every time. And maybe it's just a thing for me at this point that it bothers me, but it just seems so rigid, doesn't it? It just seems so rigid and defensive. I mean, naturally, that is body language of a sort of defensive. If I just sort of sat like this the whole time, I think people would say, what's wrong? Move your arms around, be a bit more dynamic. So maybe that's just a thing that bothers me, but I think it's got to the point now that I've noticed it so much that the whole time when I was watching, I was going, come on, Tony, move your arms. Don't stand like that. And it's obviously just, I don't know if he's nervous when he does it or if he's just, it's a comfort thing for him. It's a defensive body position. I don't know. Now that it's one of those things that, if I never spoke about it or I never noticed before, it wouldn't bother me. Now it's just a thing that I always just fixate on, and I don't know why. But, the double arms being under the biceps, it's back from Tony Khan. That's what it is. But I'm not going to criticize Tony Khan that much because I thought, once again, it was a very good promo. I think he's very, very good at these promos. He's actually surprisingly good. In some sense, he's not surprising because this is a very successful businessman, and I'm sure he has to do a lot of public speaking. He runs a variety of successful companies, whether it's AEW, Fulham, the Jacksonville Jaguars, stuff. He's mentioned hotels, music acts, etc. He's a very successful man, and you don't get that far without being able to speak publicly or speak clearly or speak well, which he obviously can do. So I think, and on top of that, of course, he's a pro wrestling fan. So I think it was once again a very good promo by the AEW president and CEO. And I look forward to the next one because I don't think they're going to stop anytime soon. And it certainly does get people interested, especially the Impact fans, as to what could happen tonight on Night 2 of New Year's Smash, because essentially Tony Khan has opened the door for any and all Impact Wrestling talents to come over. So maybe we might see a Rich Swann appearance or Motor City Machine Guns appearance tonight, on top of the Good Brothers making an appearance too. So maybe we're going to get a heavy Impact Wrestling influence on AEW Dynamite tonight. But of course, as always, this is just one man's opinion. What are your thoughts on the Tony Khan and Tony Schiavone paid ad from last night on Impact Wrestling on Access TV? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'll do my best to respond and reply to all of your comments. Really enjoy interacting with you guys, talking about Impact Wrestling, AEW, WWE, all things pro wrestling here on the channel. So get involved with the community. Drop a comment below. All opinions are welcome. If you have enjoyed this video, please do smash a like on the like button. Really does help us out here on YouTube, go up the rankings and get into people's recommendation feeds if they haven't seen our videos previously. But most importantly, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to Wrestle News 365. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner of the screen right now, or if you wait a few seconds, there'll be a subscribe button at the end of this video along with another video for you to watch. Thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.